Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nine Arches Reads. I hope you're all well in these difficult times. Before I start, I'd just like to thank Jane Kermain and Nine Arches Press for the gig. So, what I'm going to do today is read you a few poems from my debut collection, which is called Zebra. And here it is. And Zebra was launched a year ago, this month actually. So it's nice to be able to share some poems with you on its anniversary. The collection is kind of in a chronological order, just roughly. So today the poems I'm going to read are in the order they appear in the book. And the first one is about a flower, a type of balsam actually. And I remember back in the 80s, I saw this flower growing along the canal towpath along Canal Street in Manchester. So it holds particular memories for me, I suppose, of when I first came out back in the 80s. And the name of the flower and the title of the poem are very apt for what's happening today. The poem's called Touch Me Not. This flower doesn't belong on the canal, hiding in an airless tunnel where no one goes before dark. Rooted to a thin layer of dirt, head bowed, butter bloom and open mouth. That faint smell of sherbet. When someone passes, it brushes a thigh, springs back against the wall. Careful, just one touch triggers a scattering of seed into the night. So the next poem is called Into the Frying Pan. And I suppose it's about a failing relationship, but it's also about being stuck in a house with someone who you really don't want to be stuck in a house with. And I sincerely hope that none of you watching are experiencing that today. Into the frying pan. The hall mirror transfixes you again. Waxing a wisp of hair takes 8 minutes. You hook a finger each side of your mouth and tug to marvel at bleached teeth. Your face like a letterbox, ripe for me to post the Dear John I've been working on. Instead, I fix a past its sell-by date omelette. Cracking old eggs with one hand, I rehearse our parting. The raw onion makes me cry. My cleaver greets a wrinkled red pepper. 2 hearts rock gently on the chopping board. This stick of celery is pale and limp. Rancid oil licks a hot skillet. Hiss. I throw it all in. You blow yourself a kiss. So this one is about a walk I went on quite a few years back now. And I came across a stubborn cow. And the poem is called Stubborn Cow. But I suppose it's more about perseverance and the importance of pushing against obstacles and against boundaries to try and achieve your ultimate goal. Stubborn cow. Your standoff with the boundary fence continues. You lean your weight into it. Not your full weight, or you might topple. Just a lumbering, steady pressure. You pull back when the jolts of pain become too much, your bullwhip tail powerless against the low voltage assault. Largely, you absorb the shocks, unfetter the odd bellow at midges, furring the slurry pit. As days trudge by, you feel your opponent yield, inch by inch, under half a ton of black and white burden. You chew on that thought, cool as a gunslinger before the draw, barren eyes drilling into the future. Inevitably, raw heft buckles the fence. You tie your tongue round wire to drag it clear, gag on mouthfuls of electricity. But the grass on the other side is emerald green, and you ease into the long grind of breakfast. Later, slumped, restocked, and flanked by horseflies, you wait for the gentle scratch of rain, blink at a dry stone wall. So quite a few of the poems in Zebra, they explore my coming of age as a gay teenager back in the early 80s. And that was a time when AIDS had a huge effect. And a lot of people were scared, a lot of people were angry, and many people felt helpless too. So it has clear parallels to what's going on today. So I'd like to share one or two poems with you that touch on those times. The first is called London 1997, Hong Kong 1995. Andy. When Andy wore his beat-up cowboy hat in the bath, I knew he was heading out on the pull. In the bars, he scowled at the crowd as if someone had whipped his drink. Fat chance. He'd clutch his Jack Daniels and Coke, tight all night, like a loaded pistol. He never went home alone. And his cheekbones were blades. His put-downs sharper. He smoked duty-free Marlboros, or cadged mine. After he died, I found out the umlaut on the O of his surname was his own invention. His favourite shirt, bone white, with an embroidered rose that crept across his chest like a scar. Terran. He had a smile for everyone, even the doctors. We panicked when he got sick. Too much anger and tequila. The impotence of why. Someone made a concoction of rainforest fungi soup that festered under his hospital bed for weeks. He drank it secretly each morning, puked it back up before breakfast. Dark magic failed him. Maybe it could make him better. At the crematorium in Kwai Chung, tongue-clicking attendants in shorts and t-shirts flicked fag ash on the tiled floor. They stared at the guilos. We stared at Terran's coffin. Flames rose Bunsen burner blue through half-closed curtains. My next poem, it's kind of inspired by the matriarchs that kind of dominate my mother's side of the family. A lot of them are fabulous and fierce, and they inspired this. It's called Glamorous. During the ad break, Auntie Pearl sprays herself with L'amour de Paris before her violet eyelids flicker and switch off. When the mist lifts, it's 1975, Pearl's 50th birthday. The house crackles with pop music and polyester leisure suits. I'm on the stairs, face pressed against the cool banister, eyes wide as champagne saucers, dusted in the crumbling allure of a vol au vent. Below me, Auntie Pearl sings Moon River in a 50s hourglass dress and zebra-striped stilettos, drowning in diamantes and the perfume she calls bottled Hollywood. Its top notes, lily and rose, float up the steps through curls of platinum smoke. 4 decades later, Pearl's giggling. Let's throw a party and liven up this joint. So I fix 2 gin and sins, put Sinatra on shuffle, and we sway to something stupid by the light of the 60-inch plasma. I'll just read one more, and it's the last poem in the book. And it's called Return of the Discotheque Dancers. And I'd like to dedicate this one to the NHS and to all our wonderful key workers. The poem is an homage to and a celebration of all those who died of AIDS in the early years of the disease. And I think it's important to celebrate them as well, which is why I like to end on this poem. And thank you for listening, and I hope you stick around and join me for the Q&A. Return of the Discotheque Dancers. Come back, you glistening boys, you clerks and scholars, farmhands, plumbers, you makeup artists, money men, you lives hacked short, you oh so very dazzling, you boho fops, you preachers, poachers, lovers, sons, my sons. Years ago we buried you in shame. You bore the guilt as night closed in. So many men, so little time, the chorus rang. When the dry ice lifted and the spotlight glowered, so many friends were gone. Rise up, break free of soil, of stone, of ivy's snare. Come chase the hare, the handsome fox. Rattle cages, shake your bones, come back for one last wicked whirligig. Imbibe the city, its bars and clubs, its tribes and scars. Refrains that moved us then will tug the moon. Shed your shirts, your wounded skin. Shatter the glass dance floor. Our songs half sung, so flex your voices, roar like guns. Tallulah's waiting, devilish nuns are roller skating. Come back, you glistening boys. Let's march again at bang, scandals, Napoleons, spats, subway, copers, and heaven, heaven, heaven. Thank you.